Nick Taylor makes history at the Canadian Open as Jamal Murray looks to reach the mountaintop in Denver. Hey everyone, welcome into another SUN Sports Roundtable. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto SUN Sports columnist Steve Simmons and Postmedia national sports columnist Scott Stinson. And guys, what a final round at the Canadian Open. Nick Taylor becoming the first Canadian to capture the trophy on home soil in 69 years. Steve, there have been some incredible golfing moments in Canadian history, whether it be on the men or women's side. Where does Nick Taylor's victory rank for you?
Well, emotionally, it's the greatest moment in Canadian golf history, even though it's not. Mike Weir winning the Masters trumps everything, but Mike Weir winning the Masters wasn't dramatic in the manner in which Nick Taylor's win came on Sunday afternoon. And we used to say, where were you in 72 when Paul Henderson scored? I think it's now, where were you from 72 feet when Nick Taylor made the putt that nobody saw coming. And, both guys look to be struggling in extra holes. And here a Canadian has won the Open. It isn't one of the great Canadian sports moments of all time, but emotionally it may be the greatest moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make, Steve, in that, the funny thing with the Canadian Open over the years is it always seemed like Canadians would have a pretty good shot at winning it because it's traditionally had a pretty weak field relative to other PGA Tour events. And then we had all these other Canadians, there's 7 guys, I think, now playing on the tour. So it kind of felt like eventually this thing was going to happen. But for it to happen in the manner that it did with that, giant bomb on 18. And as you say, it kind of seemed like these guys who were birdieing holes to make the playoff coming in had lost a bit of gas, and it was raining and all that kind of stuff was going on. For it to have that sudden bang of a finish, I mean, very, very few golf tournaments end in that kind of a manner. You're going back to Larry Mize chipping in to win the Masters and Tiger Woods, doing a couple crazy things over the years. So it was neat to see the way it unfolded in quite such a dramatic fashion.
I loved watching the Canadian golfers, the ones who weren't playing. Mike Weir left Oakdale, came back when he heard that Taylor had a chance to win. The group of Canadians all huddled together. It was like they were playing alongside Nick Taylor. And I thought that said so much about Canadian golf and maybe Canadian sport and the way we view each other. And I thought watching those guys, Adam Hadwin and Weir, and all of them huddled together, Corey Connors, who had a terrible Sunday, all of them huddled together, sort of cheering on Nick Taylor. And I thought that was almost as special as that amazing putt at the end.
Yeah, Adam Hadwin getting tackled at the 1 yard line. Definitely one of the most memorable moments of that Sunday. Meantime, Scott Kitchener's Jamal Murray looks to make some history himself. He's trying to become just the 9th Canadian to win an NBA title with the Denver Nuggets. He hasn't been just a passenger either. He's been a big part of this run. What do you make of what he's done, not only as a Canadian NBA player, but as a young superstar in the making?
He's an interesting one because Murray, I think we sort of, I want to say we forgot about him, but he didn't have the top overall draft pick buzz of an Andrew Wiggins or even an RJ Barrett, who was thought might be a first overall pick. He ended up going 3rd. Of course, Anthony Bennett before that. Murray was a lottery pick, played at a big program in Kentucky, was a good player from the outset, is a little bit overshadowed by Nikola Jokic, obviously, who's all world on the same team. But he then had that knee injury, missed a whole year last year. But now we're seeing a guy play as well, playing as significant minutes as any Canadian has in the NBA playoffs, including Steve Nash. He's in rare air at this point, and it's been fun to see. It's especially fun to see a guy, not just playing well, but playing even better than he does in the regular season. Whatever we want to talk about, clutch genes and that kind of stuff, Jamal Murray's proven that he's got it because he's just making huge shots in these big games in an NBA Finals, and it's obviously there's a lot of Canadians in the NBA now. He's not going to be the last guy we see doing this, but he's certainly putting everybody on notice that he's going to be around for a while.
Nick Taylor did something yesterday we've never seen before, and everybody got all excited by it. Jamal Murray's been doing something for about the last 3 weeks or a month that's never been done before by a Canadian. He is scoring almost point for point with the greatest basketball player in the world. In the first 4 games of the NBA Finals, he has 10 assists in all 4 games, which is the first time any player in history has ever done that. He's coming off a round in which he scored, I think, 32 points a game against the Lakers. So what we're seeing right now is an incredible metamorphosis. It's not a one day, it's not one putt. We're watching the greatest playoff performance in the history of Canadian basketball. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs, never did anything like this in the playoffs. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had the greatest scoring season in NBA history for a Canadian this year. He hasn't had the opportunity to do this in the playoffs. This is, in my view, I think if you voted today, Nick Taylor would win Athlete of the Year in Canada. But I think if you're looking at it from a broader view and a perspective, I think Jamal Murray right now is a better choice. And a better choice because what he's doing is never been done before. And it's being done at such a high level by such a great team. And he is clearly the second best player on this great team.
Yeah, it's interesting to see with the Athlete of the Year thing. It's only June, and we've already got a couple of pretty incredible performances to pick from.
Yeah, it should be a fun week potentially for Canadian sports fans with the Denver Nuggets looking for that NBA title. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For Steve Simmons and Scott Stinson, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time on another SUN Sports Roundtable.